Of the Nature Isle Small Business Buzz program. Yes, it happens every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. And of course, it is sponsored by Archipelago Trading Agents of Beacon Insurance Limited. As always, it's a pleasure to be your host for today. And we're just winding down on the last program for the year. And of course, thank you so much for the support and interaction to all our episodes here at Q95 FM Radio. And today we are talking about Creole in the streets. And many of you may have heard, many of you have visited the streets of Roseau, purchased, interacted with the many small businesses here in Roseau. And of course, I hope you were surprised that we have a number of small businesses, entrepreneurs here in Dominica, young people. And today in studio, we have with us Mr. Cletus Joseph. And of course, he is not a stranger to Q95 FM Radio studio. Of course, he has been talking about Creole in the streets for some time now. And finally, it is here. Mr. Joseph, welcome to the studios of Q95 FM Radio. How are you doing today? I know, of course, it may be a busy day for you with Creole in the streets. How are you doing?
I was tired earlier, but I'm doing great now. Thank you.
Yes. So we all know that Creole in the Street started today from 8 a.m. and it goes until 8 p.m. this evening. So far, how has the interaction been with the general public and small businesses at the Creole in the Streets Expo?
It's a wonderful experience today. Today is the first. This is the first edition that we are having in December because traditionally it's an October event.
Yeah,
Creole in the streets, Creole season, independence, that sort of thing, and so that's where it originated as one of the maybe fringe events of the whole World Creole Music Festival, Creole lifestyle kind of thing that we adopted so many years ago. Maybe, not sure you were born yet.
yeah.
Yeah. So it evolved. It started in 2014, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when we started the whole Creole in the streets activity to really showcase the products and services that are produced and available locally from our very own Dominican people like me and you, people we know, people we touch, we see, we talk to every day.
Definitely.
And to see the quality of the goods and the services that they produce is kind of quite interesting.
Indeed. So I guess this year we can call it Creole in Christmas, Creole in the streets. Exactly. Yeah. But of course, we know that the Creole in the Streets had to be postponed to today, the 21st of December. I listened this morning to the opening ceremony where they mentioned that the objectives are still the same despite the activity being postponed. What are some of the objectives of this year's Creole in the Streets activity?
Yeah. Well, the event itself is really a marketing event, right? Marketing in itself, and when we say marketing, maybe most people want to talk about advertising, which is like maybe 5% of marketing if you look at the marketing in a sense. So it is a marketing event, a sense where you really engage your customers, your potential customers, and the objective of any business is essentially to maintain your current customers and to attract new, so you continue to deliver the best quality service and product and experience to your existing customers, but you promise to deliver the new clients the very best that they can ever find, and that's where you really acquire new clients. So So essentially, that being said, in terms of it being the activity being a marketing event, we really have a few objectives in mind and aims, more or less, if we can say that. So one, it is to provide and create awareness of these products and services that are available, produced locally by our own local people, and who make it available to us. So to create awareness, make people know. So that it's a sort of advertising, promotion, activity, and it also allows a kind of a first-hand, hands-on touch with the people who purchase your product, and or even want to use your services that you have available. So you getting feedback from the customers is critical to any business. If you're serious about running a business, you want to have feedback from your clients.
Yeah.
What is the product like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it look like? Does it really meet my needs? And you need to, or what else can be done or should be done, or I would like to see in that product, is the sort of feedback you want from the people who patronize you, who use your product. So that offering that you give them, they tell you essentially how it feels, to use it. Does it meet their objectives? Does it meet their desires, what they really wanted to do? Or really, essentially, if we could talk, does it satisfy the need or the want that they have or they want to satisfy? So that is essentially, so that is part of it. Part of the production as well, the event is also that of product development, in terms of so the engagement with the customer, the engagement with the client gives you feedback, but also proactively you want to present the best. And what we've seen over the years is an improvement in like the quality of the product itself, from the packaging, the labeling, the display, the efficacy, the look, the feel, how the products themselves look when you get it. So that was part of the overall objectives and initial objectives of it. And I think we really are beginning to see that sort of movement from just basic products to those that are more attractive, because we buy with our eyes. It looks good, we want to touch it, see it, and then most likely try it and see what it looks like. Does it really taste and feel and provide the satisfaction that it seemed to promise to give based on its looks? So those are some of it. And also during the event, while it is not the primary objective, is that we want to encourage persons to purchase those local products. We want persons to get some sales from that event, and also to secure future sales, which is very important for the businesses themselves. So after persons have come and experienced what it is they're available, they may want to try it again after. Maybe they could only buy a limited amount this time, but okay, I know that I can get this product, be it teas or chocolate or wines or punches, whatever it is, craft items, that that when I want more, I can just call this number or WhatsApp this number or email this person and get the product. So it is designed with a now short-term, down the road, and a more long-term objectives in mind.
Wow. And of course, these objectives definitely cover everything that we see a lot of small business speaking about. And of course, I remember an interview right here on the program where we had the owner of Hey Mama actually comes in, and she was actually giving her story about the process of packaging from her seaweed itself to reaching it, making it be where it is right now. Because a lot of people, like you said, tend to shop with their eyes. But of course, besides the objectives, we should have started from level 1. But however, what role does NDFD play in organizing that event to have these objectives for small businesses?
What role does NDFD play in organizing the event?
Yes, to have these same objectives that you have listed.
Organizing the event is 95% of the work. What we see out on the street today is the end product. It involves a lot of work from the staff, a lot of engagement with other stakeholders, a lot of commitment to sitting and contacting and making people know that the event is on. So it is an NDFD event, and there are sponsors and partners who come on board to do that. So because NDFD itself, in its 40 years, and well, from its inception, was always intended to benefit the small and micro businesses, and I always want to ensure that I say micro, small, medium, because we should not fool ourselves. The levels at which we operate here are essentially micro when we look at it on a global basis. So we have those businesses there that we have to ensure that they can only, let's say, produce, and that's what they're good at, developing a product, whether it's something that they just thought of and decided to do it. But NDFD was designed to be able to help persons with those ideas to get it to the level whereby they could operate successfully. And by successfully, we mean the fact that they would come up with a good product, looks good, feels, well, if there's taste, but satisfies the need or the want. And it looks good on the shelf, and then it is able to provide returns to the entrepreneur who has designed and developed that product. So NDFD has always been one about training entrepreneurs, in terms of not only developing the product, but also to be able to administer their business, manage their business is an important aspect. So you find at the inception, NDFD would host more or less like skills training workshops. So in woodworking, and talking about woodworking, there was a cooperative that was formed in 1981, 82, 81, just because it was a training hosted by NDFD. And the persons who attended the training decided, we're going to do this woodwork cooperative. There was also, I think, the candle cooperative, if I recall from what I read, and the researching on NDFD started from trainings that NDFD did, and the persons that decided, we're going to do a candle cooperative, that kind of thing. So you had those types of businesses evolve from trainings hosted by the NDFD. Now, what sense would it make if you have the skill set and you cannot apply it physically? So it talks about having equipment and machinery and finance to do other things like meeting your overheads, your electricity bills, those types of things to ensure that the business operates. And that's where NDFD was able at the time to provide an avenue to financing that business idea that you had. So it moved from equipping you with the skill to providing you the financing that you required to operationalize whatever you were able to configure from that training that you got.
Oh, wow. So I can definitely see that NDFD has the biggest part to play in organizing that activity. But as we reflect on the previous editions of Creole in the Streets, what are the significant improvements of this year's Creole in the Streets compared to the 6 other editions, of course?
I could say that the event itself has grown and developed. As somebody remarked today, it has become a staple in the Dominican environment right now. And one of the key things I did mention this morning when I in my remarks was that the patrons, the people who come there to display and sell and market and promote and everything, now have taken ownership of the event. So they refer to it as our Creole in the Streets. And that came to the fore when we had to postpone the event because of, I think it was Tropical Storm Tammy or that sort of thing that threatened to hit us. And we had no choice but to say, tropical storm warning, hurricane watch. It never materialized, thank God.
Yeah.
But what people were saying, okay, we could not do it, let us do it before the year ends. And what's the most appropriate time? So because of that feedback that we got, we brought the persons together and they decided, oh, let's try it today. And here we are today with the event. Now, in terms of development, we have a lot more clients who participate. I believe the initial event maybe was 25 to 30 in 2014.
Yeah.
Right now, it's 40s, 50s, 60s, wow. 70s, that we have who participate in the activity. So it has really grown and really impacts. There are people, organizations who really look forward to it. I also we also know from our data collection that the product quality have improved, as I indicated earlier, in terms of the packaging, the branding. And that is where organizations that we partner with, like the Bureau of Standards and DEXA, and so play their part in helping create the awareness that you need to meet certain standards in packaging of the products that you offer for sale, in terms of ingredients, the looks, the aesthetics, the contents of whatever product it is and whatnot. And particularly if you are into some things that you can ingest or even apply on your skin, is important to that. One of the other important improvements, I could say, is that we have sort of gotten other events and activities connected to the Creole in the Streets event. So for instance, we have our Green Innovation Summit, whereby we train people to use renewable energy technologies and energy efficient technologies in their own production and operations and strategies of business operations. So whereby every other year we sort of we host a 4-day training session where we immerse people in issues of business administration and adaptation and mitigation technologies. Again, the renewable energy, the energy efficiency technologies to help improve the chances of success, and also to improve the profitability and sustainability of these businesses. So it's, I would say, from 2014 when we had that first event to now 2023. We had 2 years when we had to suspend. One was Hurricane Maria and the other was the COVID-19 pandemic. So that took away 2 events. We almost were threatened of a third, but the clients were like, we have to do this thing, right? So if I were to rate on a scale, let's say of 1 to 10 improvement, I think maybe we would be like 8, 9.
Wow.
In terms of what we've seen, what we know, and how it has grown and developed.
And of course, that's a huge improvement on NDFD's end, of course. One thing that actually pointed out to me was actually the small business owners actually taking ownership of the entire activity. Also, the second thing was that we all know that climate change has become a huge topic in every conversation, and I tend to include that in every conversation that I tend to have. However, how has NDFDs integrated the idea that climate change is real into the trainings that you guys offer, the idea of sustainability or sustainable practices that small businesses can incorporate into their business?
Right. So that takes from where I was just speaking in terms of different activities that we do. One of the things that we do as a lead up is we do Observe Earth Hour every year, and that happens on the last Saturday in March of every year. So thus far we have done 3 versions of it. And Earth Hour is essentially where on that particular day, evening from 8:30 to 9:30 in the evening, we encourage persons to turn off their non-essential lights and to get involved in some activity, maybe reading with some solar light or some candlelight or something, or play some family games or so. And we do have a panel discussion during that 1 hour, focusing on issues of environmental preservation during that event. Earlier this year, we held that, and that was a wonderful activity. In addition to that, the Green Innovation Summit that we speak of is one whereby we equip persons with knowledge. And we do have experts in the field of environmental management who come and present to the small business owners to create an awareness as to the steps they can take in terms of their businesses to help reduce the impact on the environment. And so whether it is in agriculture, and then you talk about how can you incorporate more naturally produced fertilizers, organic fertilizers into your production techniques, rather than having the chemical fertilizers. How do you produce those natural and organic fertilizers? How do you protect and prevent washouts into the waterways? And in Dominica, we have a lot of waterways, if you can think, and they keep creeping up more and more as we seem to expand our use of the country in terms of buildings and settlements and that sort of thing. So we do that. In terms of fisheries, how do we manage our fisheries? Again, prevent the pollution, the dumping indiscriminately into our rivers and into our seas. Well, once it gets into the waterway, eventually it ends up in the sea, right? And the fish is what we eat from the sea. The seaweed is also what we consume from the sea. So these things eventually have been proven to be found in fish and plants harvested from the sea. So our activities essentially impact the environment, and we can take steps to mitigate those things, reduce it. So the Green Innovation Summit, it does that. It also helps point the participants in the direction whereby they can secure the technologies, how they can use the technologies, and how they can really integrate it into their overall business development to ensure that they improve the third bottom line, which is profitability of the business. So you have one where you protect and preserve the human resource, the persons in the business, or even the business owner themselves. You cannot leave them out. You have the other one where you do the environmental part to mitigate and reduce your impact on the environment in a negative way. And also the third one, by doing those things, you also improve your sustainability, your probability of success in your business. So it talks about renewable energy. How do you use solar? How do you use more energy efficient equipment? Because right now you have more energy efficient equipment like inverter type refrigerators and washing machines, televisions, and those types of things. So if you are changing, or if you believe that you should just change to those energy efficient equipment, then we are able to even finance you to do that. If you really want to maybe include a solar PV system to ensure that you have redundancy when it comes to power outages, or even reducing the overall cost of production for your business, we can do that. And we make people aware of it, and then we help them to utilize it. So that is where our involvement with environmental preservation and the impact on the environment comes in. So it's a deliberate program that we host every 2 years. And we do it every 2 years because between the events, we work with the participants of that project to help them to develop the activity, their ideas that they came up with at that thing. We also present them with challenges that various organizations have. So for instance, the Solid Waste Management Corporation, they normally make a presentation at that and interact with that. The utility companies, they also present what the challenges are, and persons can use that to sort of figure out what sort of business that I can develop around this challenge that these organizations are going, and how do I profit from it important things that we do. So one, you solve an issue for some stakeholders, while at the same time you create some employment and revenue generation for yourself. Is the kind of interlinked thing that we pursue.
Well, and of course that is important, especially generating employment opportunities and addressing the issue of unemployment, especially among young people. And of course, indeed, it is important that a call has always been there to educate younger generations to develop a mindset of sustainability as it relates to the business sector as a whole. But before we go on a short break, I wanted to touch a bit on inclusivity and representation. Of course, what efforts have been made to ensure inclusivity and representation at this year's and, of course, the previous editions of Creole in the Streets that NDFD has hosted?
Right. In terms of inclusivity, if you're talking NDFD, we try to be as inclusive as possible. We are open to everybody. However, saying that and believing it as the executive director of NDFD is one thing. The perception of people is another. And that is what we have to work on. So we always have to take steps to ensure that we reach out to those who believe that this is not for them, or this is not attractive enough for them, or this does not cater for them. So we have taken various steps. So one of them is that last year, 2021, we reached out to the Kalinago territory, for instance, where we carried out some focus groups and surveys within the area to figure out how it is that we can reach out more to the Kalinago people. And that was quite interesting. We did also a study as to how gender sensitive NDFD itself is. And the results of that, some of it was surprising to me. Wow. And that's why I tell you, while as the executive director, you have one perception, you believe that you are open to all, but what people perceive can be different. And also what your own data can show you is also very important, that you have to look at that and come up with ways to continuously reach out to people to bring them into your group, to make sure that you can serve them and serve them well. So that is it. As a result of those things, we have also taken concrete action. So one of those is on a month and Friday, we provide an opportunity, particularly to women, to be outside of the NDFD, to be able to, again, it's like a very micro Creole in the street. So out in front of the NDFD, every month and Friday, you have some micro and small business persons are there exhibiting and selling their produce, So that is one concrete activity. We had it for the entire of December thus far as a lead up to Creole in the Streets, where persons there. And it's amazing to see the level of women and young persons, young women, and women themselves, more grown women who participate of that. And it's always fascinating to have them tell you that, thank you for what you have done. It's very beneficial to me, and I am seeing the results of it. So that is it. Also the issues of like doing the Green Innovation Summit is another one. The observance of Earth Hour, World Environment, those things really kind of reach out to the various groups that may be sometimes underserved. So we kind of try to reach out to them. We have also kind of design trainings based on those research that we have done. So in terms of inclusivity, I don't want to say that we have done all that it requires, but we have done some work in that to embrace on that. We have also those things were also facilitated in partnership with various international organizations. So I want to mention at this time, like the IDB has been very supportive of NDFD in terms of enabling us to be more inclusive, in terms of enabling us to be more environmentally sustainable. So that's about some of the activities that I can kind of recall now that we have undertaken to ensure that we become more inclusive and to serve as many persons as possible.
And that, of course, is refreshing. And I must commend NDFD, of course, because we're now moving in a world where we are trying to address gender equality and gender equity, as well as providing equal and making access to opportunities easier and better for marginalized and vulnerable groups, including indigenous peoples as well.
Yeah.
So I must commend NDFD from taking a huge step in looking at how exactly can they help address that particular issue as it relates to the business sector here in Dominica. But we're going to take a short break and get back so we can finish up on our conversation.
Sure.
Listeners, thank you so much for staying tuned in. I hope you guys are being informed and being educated about today's activity. So stay tuned and we will be right back after this short break.
Republic Bank's Power to Make a Difference annual call for submissions is now open for 2024. Last year, 15 NGOs, change makers, activists, and community leaders from the Eastern Caribbean and St. Martin answered the call to be the one to make the change and received financial support to help them enable sustainable futures for youth, entrepreneurs, communities, the environment, the disabled, and the vulnerable. Now it's your turn. For more information, visit republicbanbec.com. Application deadline is December 31st. Republic Bank gives you the power to make a difference.
Be part of the Mix and Mingle Bells and Jingles Christmas campaign by Fine Foods Inc. Buy any Angostura rum for a chance to win one of 3 fantastic prizes. Third prize, $250 cash. Second prize, $500 cash. And the grand prize, a brand new 55-inch smart TV. To enter, write your name and number at the back of the receipt and place it in the box provided. Or WhatsApp a picture of your receipt to 613-5051. Mix and Mingle Bells and Jiggles. Buy your Angostura rum products to win big. Happy holidays from Fine Foods Inc. Promotion ends December 27. Terms and conditions apply.
Cause I'm on my way.
KFC delivery is here. Just place your order at www.kfcdominica.com, Facebook or WhatsApp at 614-2633 and your order will be delivered to you. KFC, it's good.
Cause I'm on my way. Drink and test the quality. When I'm out and it's my time to play. It's a trading and big crew, making a difference for you. I hear you get rocked anytime you drink it. Dance. The XM Supreme, 15 years. The XM Royal, 10 years. XM 5 years. And the 750 milliliter. Come on, pass me a Banks Rum. Banks Extra Matcha. Premium blend. Try out the 200 or the 750 ml. Yeah, man. Guaranteed for any occasion. Say you can't go wrong with Banks Rum. Hey, drink and test the quality. Banks Rum. Banks care more than Chanel. Bank Supreme High Wine, the foot and the white wine, and for the cake, greater than the Banks Cherry Brandy. I give it back. You can test the quality. When I'm out and it's my time to play. It's a trading and the crew making a difference for you. I hear you get ranks anytime you drink it. Remember, drink responsibly.
Not all rums are created equal. With all the care, attention, and craft that goes into El Dorado, it's more than just a fine rum. El Dorado exists to create deeper, more richly crafted rum experiences for drinkers to explore and savor longer. The richer the craft, the deeper the experience. Cheers to drinking quality. Drink El Dorado. Available island-wide. Distributed by Belfast Estate Limited.
Yeah. living in the positive.
Nature Isle's Small Business Buzz, NISBB, every week. Promotions and interviews with new entrepreneurs, successful small business owners, industry experts, consumers, and thought leaders, all sharing their knowledge and experiences, celebrating the innovative ideas, hard work, and resilience that define our Nature Isle small businesses, sharing their knowledge and experiences in investing, producing, processing, costing, pricing, marketing, shipping, managing their finances, customer relations, and everything in between. Only on Q95, the big station.
We have to buy local in this country, supporting local, for boost the economy. Purchasing local, the best remedy to propel white people believe.
Don't sleep, wake up.
And we are right back here in studio. And for those of you joining us right now, we are joined in studio with Mr. Cletus Joseph from the National Development Foundation of Dominica. And we're all discussing the 7th edition of Creole in the Streets happening right now outside of the NDF, this building, and that's on Marlborough Street. And it's happening from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you're still at work or if you're leaving work right now, please feel free to stop by and support our many, many, many small businesses in Dominica. And of course, don't forget, it's the Christmas season. So stop by, get your last minute shopping to put under the Christmas tree. And, support our small businesses. Now, Mr. Joseph, before we went on the short break, we touched a bit on inclusivity and representation of NDFD, including various groups into the various initiatives and programs that the foundation is having. Now, let's touch a bit more on the sustainable initiatives that you guys have. So I know NDFD, of course, do host a number of programs and initiatives. I know you did touch on a few during the first segment of our interview here, but I'm going to throw sustainability at you again, of course. So are there any, please tell our listeners if there are any sustainability initiative integrated into this year's event.
In terms of Creole in the Streets,
yes.
Right?
And let's touch a bit more about your initiatives afterwards.
But of course, one of the additions we had this year was what we call the Green District. It's a section that we allocate to businesses that promote more green in terms of whether their activities are more environmentally friendly in terms of the use of their materials, the types of packaging materials that they use, their overall use of renewable energy, or those types of things. So for this year's event, we do have that section. I realized it was a lot more. Every time I walked through, it was always a lot more populated, and people were kind of hanging out there a lot more. So it's one of the things that we did. And again, that is to kind of create an awareness that whatever we do, we can always do it better with minimal impact on the environment that we live in, because essentially we live there, and the sort of environment we create is going to affect our quality of life. So that's important. Now, sustainability in itself, right, is not just about environment. The environment is critical, and whatever you do must always minimize the impact on it. But you talk about financial sustainability is just as important, because you can do all of the environmental protection that you want, but if you are not able to generate financial sustainability, everything will crash. So that is critically important when it comes to developing your small or business. One of the things that we did during the course of last year into this year was to develop a mechanism for women. It was a pilot. It is a pilot still. We're still kind of piloting it in 3 parishes, St. Patrick, St. Paul, and St. David, whereby we created a mechanism that could provide women who are involved in agriculture and or agribusiness enterprises, businesses, micro businesses, to be able to get financing up to $10,000. It's a collateral-free facility. And in addition to the loan financing, what happens is that you get a 10% of the loan value as a grant. But what we do with that grant is that we keep it in sundry or in escrow, whatever you want to call it, for you. And you have the option to build it up as you repay the loan. So by the time, so if, for instance, you took the maximum 10,000, we allocate $1,000 to you that we keep for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can add to it. So every time you can pay, you come in to pay, you decide, okay, I can add $20 or $50 or $100 to it. And by the end of you finish pay, it will accumulate to that 1,000 plus whatever you add to it. Now, what this does is that it provides a bit of a cushion in the event of. And that is something that we often overlook, that after any event, catastrophic that is, you will need cash to rebuild, to restart whatever business you were doing. So that can be there and made available for you in terms of that. Now, in addition to the loan financing and the build-up of the reserve, the cash reserve, we are trying to develop, it's an integral part of it that is a little bit more difficult to do, is to do a microinsurance aspect of it. So again, in the event that something goes this way, you can fall back on the coverage you have for that to be able to do that. It's a little more ticklish, a little kind of difficult, but it is something that we are determined to work out and to ensure that it comes to fruition sometime in the very near future, even before we extend it to the rest of the island. It's something that we want to ensure that we develop. Now, again, in terms of sustainability, you know, how about the sustainability of you, the entrepreneur, as a person, as an individual, that you are always going, but you have to take care of yourself as well in terms of physically and also mentally, spiritually, psychologically. We during our Green Innovation Summit, there are periods that are designated to personal and self-development. So we help you to get into a meditation, to think, to relax. And sometimes, because the pressure, the stress is so great that you just don't think right and you are just not getting it. So it pays that you take a break out of it, sit back, relax, just free up your mind, you know, do some meditation exercises to get you back into the right frame of mind that you can operate. Okay, so we have sessions that help persons to do that in our Green Innovation Summit. In addition, we have physical exercises for at least 15 minutes during the training, where we teach people core exercises. I'm not the one who does it, right? Core exercises that you can do just to make sure your body keeps in shape. And it's amazing that the little that you do, I'm of the opinion, the conviction that one is better than zero in those things. So the little that you do, if you were doing none and now you're doing one, it's better.
It is.
All right. So we help people do exercises that help them build what I learned them thing, their core, you know, around the tummy area. You know, a lot of pressure can sit there, and you can do exercises to ease that up. And so, you know, your hands, your feet, you know, again, your mind gets relaxed when you do those exercises. So these are all things that build towards the sustainability of a human person the human psyche to get it to, breathe and to be, at peace with itself, that it will be able to function more effectively at what it is that you do during your business operations. So those things we must bear in mind. So sometimes it is what, and for corporations, bigger organizations, the human resource, how you treat your human resource, how you train them, you have to develop them to the point that they themselves become that asset to you that you cannot really do well without them, and you have to take care of them holistically as well.
Oh wow, definitely. And sustainability, as you said, that's exactly where I was going with the conversation. Sustaining your own self, of course. Now let's touch a bit more on development goals. Now, so in terms of all the additions of Creole Industries, we're looking at the initiatives that NDF, the whole, apart from Creole Industries, to Creole Industries itself. So in what way does this event and the past events and initiatives, you can feel free to answer Creole Industries first and your initiatives afterwards, but how does these align with Dominica's long-term development goals?
There's a popular adage that says small businesses are the backbone of the economy.
Yeah.
I have my own thoughts on that, but what I will say on it is that the impact of small businesses on lives and livelihoods is never really fully measured, because it's a difficult thing to do. And when you do not have the mechanisms in place to do it, it's even more difficult.
Definitely.
But there are persons who operate just sole proprietorships, just to ensure that, and that's what they can do, that they pay the bills, they meet their living expenses, sustenance essentially, and you are never able to measure those things. So in that regard, we at NDFD, when someone comes and decide I need a small loan to do this small project, it is something that, yes, we measure it, but the data essentially is ours that we just share in our annual reports, So that is that. So there really is an impact that most likely the macro economy does not or cannot measure. So that is one thing to bear in mind. But essentially, yes, micro and small businesses really do have a much greater impact than that we can just see on a macro level. In the terms of the Creole Industries, I think we have like 46 to 50 manufacturers there, including food and beverage and the craft and other items there. Each of them employ at least two themselves and somebody else who assists them either on a part-time or full-time basis. There are persons there that I know who employ up to 5 persons. So you see the multiplier effect that it provides. Now, in addition to that, they use things like raw materials that have to come from somewhere, which is not necessarily themselves. So they have to purchase from somebody. So there is even a greater multiplier effect there that sometimes we don't see. So the effect of small businesses is really, really far-reaching, that we can really say, yes, it is important and it is really affecting lives. It also, again, if you touch back to sustainability, it helps them be sustainable. It helps them to be able to just meet their basic needs, just and not depend on other people. So that is there. It gives them sort of kind of financial independence, so that's there. While I'm speaking with you, there is one client who just told me my products run out.
Wow.
Well, and that's the second one for the day that I had to send to get more. I didn't really believe that it would have sold out. So they have to get it. And these are kind of stories that if we don't do events like this, we don't really know, although at our level, we do that sort of measurement by the time when we do trainings and if we do loans, then we kind of follow up to gauge and judge the impact of these small businesses that we are having with them. So those are things that we measure and that's data that we track. Okay.
Wow. And of course, monitoring and evaluation. It's like I was having a conversation with Mrs. Morris, who actually wrote these guides for MSMEs, and she said that small businesses need to treat their businesses as projects, and that's where monitoring and evaluation comes in handy. But you did touch on impact, and this sort of topic comes to my mind in terms of community engagement and interaction and the impact of small businesses on the community. Of course, let's touch a bit more on Creole in the Streets and your initiatives. So we're touching on NDFD as a whole this afternoon. So how does these initiatives and activities foster community engagement and interaction with small businesses in the various communities and NDFD as a whole?
Well, the fact that we engage, there are times when we really go out to the communities to kind of touch base. It's something that we have not really done how we wanted to for various reasons within the last, I think, 2-3 years because of various effects. But reaching out to various communities is always something that gives you insight as to, touching base with your clients, knowing what it is that they desire, and not just you staying in your office and saying, look, you know, is not necessarily what the people need or want. And I say need or want because we have to satisfy both of these, whereby the need is the basic, what you really cannot do without. You need food. But when it comes to food, you might just want a sandwich or you might want a broth. So that's the kind of difference there. So our businesses essentially are targeted to satisfy those types of things. So Creole in the Streets, we always engage. So following today's activity, we have to do a survey with the clients to find out how it went, what was missing, what can we improve, what was supposed to be there that you did not see or experience or feel, that sort of thing. And again, it's instructive. And you mentioned the issue of monitoring and evaluation. It's foolish. It will be foolish if you as a small business person do not monitor and evaluate whatever it is that you're doing. How do you know that you are maximizing on your potential? How do you know that you are not wasting materials? How do you know that your business is really profitable? And that's where it comes to when we do the trainings. When we do training in business administration, we do record keeping and bookkeeping and accounting. Does not mean that you have to be an accountant to do it. The accountant, what they do is that they put it in a form that is readable and understandable, and you can do your analysis. But people should always ensure that they keep their basic bare minimum records. If you are into sales, you write down at the end of the day how much that you made, how much that you spent, and somebody can do an analysis. And if you are consistently making less than what it is that you spent, you need to figure out what is it that you're doing wrong? What is it that you can change? So the engagement comes in that aspect of it, and it is critical that we do that. So again, things like the Green Innovation Summit is another area of engagement. So following that, we try to touch base with those persons and we do follow up with them that where are you now? They have the opportunity to come and engage with me, with my staff, on what they're doing, what they're thinking. And sometimes we've had things where people start, you come up with one idea, you start something, and you end up with something totally different. And there's nothing really wrong with that. You know, it's, you had an idea, it's your idea, but you didn't do the market research, or you could not do it, or you just thought that your idea, it's good. It didn't pan out. But in getting feedback from your customers, you have adjusted and adapted and provided something that they more desire, that is of more benefit to them than what you originally had. So we get those types of feedbacks with our engagement with them. Okay. In terms of, again, the Creole in the Streets, providing the opportunity to do the marketing, to get sales, to, you know, get secure future sales and clients and customers. Again, it's a level of engagement that is beyond NDFD's reach. I also learned today that one person was saying, do you know that we have partnered with some of the beneficiaries in there? Wow. And I was like, seriously? And the person said, yeah. We have our brand on some of them, and we thought that it was a way to reach to them and to our clients. Wow. You know, so even within and outside of what NDFD is doing, there are innovations happening that expand the reach of those small business clients and help themselves to be more successful in their events and activities.
Wow. And of course, that must be a huge achievement for NDFD in terms of impact these persons are making. And I've seen that, you know, having discussions like this, time always seems to run out on our end. But before we go, last question would be, looking ahead, what aspirations does NDFD have for future editions of Creole in the Streets? Or are there any improvement? I know, of course, you said that there will be some sort of assessment being done of the 7th edition. So following that, what aspirations does NDFD have for future editions of Creole in the Streets?
One thing we've done is to allow the event to evolve. Yeah. You know, innovation and product development are critical aspects of any business that you do. And the event has sort of evolved. And we are committed to ensure that this continues to happen. One of the requests that we continuously have is, can we have this more frequently? Can you guys do it, let's say, 4 times a year? Yeah. You know, we always get that. It's not something that we take lightly, and a lot of thought has and is going into it. One thing I must say is it's a pretty expensive event to host, and we are thankful to our partners who have come on board time and again to help us to host the event. But we are, I'm not sure I want to divulge what it is that I really want the event, but I'm only one person, and I have a staff, I have a board. But we have ideas that we keep on discussing as to what really we want the event to evolve into. As I indicated earlier, there is one thing that happened is that I got a sense of ownership from the patrons of the event. We were able to kind of form a bit of a think tank emanating from just discussions about Creole in the Streets. We are yet to engage in our first meeting of to start the thinking going, but there are ideas that are coming up, and we had to get this edition of Creole in the Streets out of the way. So what it evolves into will not all just be the final, but it will be maybe another step in the process of development of the event. But we are all taking the feedback. Again, the customer feedback from your marketing event is feeding into it. and we are using all of that, and then we will also be kind of getting more precise. You said this, but what exactly is it that you mean? Because somebody can tell you one thing and then you totally misinterpret or don't understand exactly what they were saying. But getting people to be able to express more clearly what they want, and that comes with more and more engagement with them. So whatever it evolves into will not just be just me or NDFD, but all of the people, all of the stakeholders who have a stake in it, who have a passion for the event, for the activity, and as to how it should be in the future.
Of course, I do want to commend NDFD again for all the hard work you guys are doing to give to a lot of our small business owners in Dominica to express themselves, I must say, and develop their capabilities in terms of being their own bosses, as some of them have that mentality. But before you go, Mr. Joseph, are there any last words in terms of Creole industries or small businesses out there that you would like to pass on to persons who may be listening to us right now?
My first message is, if you're hearing me, you have about 3 hours to come down to Great Marlborough Street. That is in front of the NDFD office, to partake in this event, this activity. You will see a good display of the products and services that are available for you. Some of them make very good Christmas gifts for those of us who celebrate Christmas. So you have another 3 hours from now, 5 o'clock to there about it. There is some entertainment. There is no shortage of beverages available, and I'm not sure if all of the food vendors have already sold out, but I'm sure you can get something, and all of the wonderful products. So I encourage persons to spare a bit of time to come and patronize the activity, the event, and I dare say look forward to the next one.
Definitely.
In addition to that, the work that has gone into it and the various stakeholders, we must mention people like organizations like the fire and ambulance services, the police department, or sponsors and other stakeholders who have time and again been supportive of us. There are quite a few of them. I think at last count I had maybe 20 of them who one way or the other contributed something to the event. So I just want to kind of, they're not hearing me now because they are really into the event, but the staff and the hard work that they put into it, really going beyond the call of duty to ensure that this event, really is successful and turns out to be what we want it to be. It's tremendous. Sometimes I think I left the site about somewhere after 2 this morning, and I'm sure there was at least one staff member who was still there.
Wow.
And he said, you could go home and I'll hold the fort from there. That's the kind of commitment that we get. So when he called me this morning, you wake up already?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, but I just organized it. He said, boy, I just reached after 3, and I'm up again. I'm on site already, and that was just after 6, So he left the site after 3. Wow. And he was back there by 6 o'clock. There are other staff members who left 10, 11, 12, and they were there at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and these are not typical working times for us here, So it's tremendous effort, tremendous work, and a tremendous support staff that it executes the event to ensure everything falls right in place. All I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Or if you want to do it the other way, cross your T and cross your I and dot your T, whichever way you want to put it. It's tremendous work, and the team that I have is really exceptional, and I'm grateful for them. They always take the feedback that they get to really guide and to develop the project. So it's a tremendous activity, and again, I encourage persons. So even if you go there, it's just the the clients you meet, you can take their contact information. The event is live on our Facebook page, so you could visit there and you could look at it again or segments thereof. And we will we always have their information. So if you want to secure some products from them, we can pass that information to you to ensure that you patronize them. And we encourage every Dominican, if you buy in a gift this Christmas, you could go there in front of NDFD's office and get something local. Let's make our help build our own resilience, help build our own sustainability, because nobody's going to do it for us, is what we have to bear in mind. And we have to do things for ourselves and to not depend on others so much. Even when we depend on others, it should be just for a short time, and that we just build our capacity and ensure that we do that. And whenever we see as NDFD people are successful, people have come to us and they started something that really stands out, it makes us happy. And we are committed to continue being there for those clients, for those target beneficiaries of our services. So we are indeed happy, and I can say that on behalf of my staff and my board, that we are happy that we can reach out in that way and be of that assistance to everybody.
Definitely. And of course, that is evidence to what can be accomplished when we all come together with our passions. I mean, teamwork makes the dream work for sure. And of course, Mr. Joseph, thank you so much for stopping by for this episode on Nature Isle Small Business Buzz. And of course, we do wish your organization the best in all its endeavors. And of course, we're looking forward to the 8th edition of Creole in the Streets in 2024. And thank you guys for tuning in. It's been my pleasure being your host again. And I want to send out season greetings to everyone. And I want to wish you guys a happy and prosperous New Year. Please stay tuned. The evening news package comes up next.
Yeah. Living in the positive.
Nature Isle Small Business Buzz, NISBB, every week. Promotions and interviews with new entrepreneurs, successful small business owners, industry experts, consumers, and thought leaders, all sharing their knowledge and experiences, celebrating the innovative ideas, hard work, and resilience that define our nature